Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for...
Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
All around me I see frustration, and I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for...
Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans
and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you. I know that life outside is so hard. There's a lot of things that can tear you apart. I know the roads sometimes feel lonely, but remember you're not the one and only. There's always someone there to help you, a helping hand to pull you through. There's only one thing you should do: take my hand and join the Love and Life crew. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then they love it life.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and I hope that you are wearing the Gatvol sign. Well, what a live stream we have set up for you tonight, guys. What a live stream we have set up for you tonight. Tonight we'll be throwing our support behind General Izak van Zyl and his Gatvol movement, which we encourage you to become symbolically part of. Tonight we will unpack just what is the Gatvol movement and why you should become part of it. The Gatvol movement has its origins in the Cape Coloured community a couple of years ago and is now growing very fast as the people of South Africa have just had enough of this corrupt and incompetent ANC government. Let's have a look at a very short clip of the Gatvol Cape Townian movement. Here we go.
My name is Oscar Lyons, media liaison for Gatvol Cape Townian. That is who we are. And we formed our organization on the 30th of April 2018. And the actual goal and aim of our organization is to raise awareness in the colored community and also the broader minority community, white, and Indian as well, about how we're being mauled over, bootstrapped, and everything that you can think of by the Democratic Alliance, the ANC, and all the coalition partners.
I'm Fadil Adams from Gatvol, Capetonian. I'm the national spokesperson, and I joined this organization because I believe in its cause and I want to ensure that there's something there for our children at the end of everything.
I'm Ibrahim Davis, chairperson of the Gatvol Capetonian movement. The reason why I'm with this is I think that the colored people have been marginalized for far too long.
Okay, there you get it. Gatvol. Now, for those of you who don't know what Gatvol means, let me tell you. Gatvol means just had enough. More than that, it's a wonderfully descriptive Afrikaans word. It just means, I'm over it. You know, this is it. It's just gone too far. Now, without any further ado, let me get Isaac, but before I do, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed and to like this live stream. Put any questions you have for Isaac in the side chat and I'll put them to him later, and I'd ask the moderators if they could just cut and paste those questions. Okay, let's get Isaac on, shall we? And he's gonna be Gatvol too, believe me. Hi Isaac, how are you?
Good evening, Scott. Good evening to all the onlookers and the viewers.
Can you turn your camera 90 degrees? We have you sideways. That's it. There we go. That's better. Much better. Ah, look, I love your outfit. Love your outfit. I've got a Gatvol hat on as well, but you're the king of Gatvol. So, tell me, Isaac, how are you first? Because you've had a pretty rough time in the last few weeks with your health. How are things going?
No, Scott, I'm coping. I was in hospital for a week and they gave me a handful of tablets to swallow every day. And I think that will keep me going until the 22nd when I have to go in for a a triple bypass operation.
Wow. You're not going to a public hospital, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to the Steve Biko Hospital. According to my doctor, the best, cardiologists are there. I was there for a week and I was under the supervision of three excellent
Which day are you
medical
going
practitioner.
Which day are you going in?
On the 20th.
Yeah.
The same day the UK are starting their rebellion against the cabal.
Okay, so it's a 20 which?
22nd of June.
22nd of June. Okay, I just want to have that so we can pray for you on that day. All right. Now, I have to tell you, I love the new look, King of Gatvol. So, what brought this on? I mean, because it's really catching on. I can tell you on YouTube.
No, Scott. I think it's a point that every person in this country has reached, especially we who are fighting on the front line, trying to make a stand against the evil decisions made by the government, making a stand against the evil laws that they passed the past 25 years. We try to make a stand against the fact that the government are silent about the murdering of our farmers. We are trying to be on the front line to prepare for what we know as a definite threat that was made public by organizations like the EFF and the PLF, supported by their silence about the threat by the ANC government. And I think this lockdown showed us, and I think we gathered more than enough evidence that Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma is trying to be a mother for the nation. But at the end, she treats intelligent citizens of this country like children. And I think most of us reached the point where we started to get Gatvol for government making decisions on behalf of our own well-being, on behalf of what we can and cannot do with regarding to smoking cigarettes, drinking liquor, moving in a responsible way within the boundaries of the lockdown regulations. And I think that what we saw the past 3 months is a misuse of power. A total misuse of power. There's lots of incidents that was never addressed. Never promises made by the government or the so-called War Council to address these problems, trashing and tramping on the basic human rights of normal citizens of the Republic of South Africa.
Yeah, look, I have to tell you, I find it extraordinary that the NCC, the 7 members of the ANC, collectively have an IQ of about 50. And that's been very, very kind to them. You look at Becky Cele, he's on the NCC, like Ace Magashula. You got a bunch of gangsters. You know, there is no credibility amongst that mob. And they've basically taken the country hostage. I can't understand how South Africans do not understand what they're doing in the country.
Yeah, what we try to achieve with this hashtag Gatvol is to get a sort of an awareness. And you will see in the following weeks to come lots of communication going out about the con men that are trying to capture and to keep the normal citizens of South Africa captured by making laws and applying and using the police and the army to reach the goals. So they are capturing the whole population in a web of fear in order to reach their goals. And we are not sitting in South Africa with one set of agendas. You have the New World Order agenda driven by Soros and Gates and all those con men. And then you have the ANC agenda. And it's very evident, just by listening to the mayor of Ekurhuleni supporting Malema, telling the world to know in public media that they are going to destroy white businesses.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Their fight is not against the COVID-19. Their fight is against the white people who are actually trying to make ends meet with their one-man businesses and enterprises and small companies. And I'm telling you that we are witnessing under our noses hundreds, if not thousands, of white families going down because of this insanity.
Yeah, no,
and we have to address this.
We have to totally agree with you.
The white minority people on board under the hashtag Gatvol. We as the Boerelegioen are not driving the campaign. It was started by an individual in South Africa. His name is Lawrence Steytler. He started the campaign, and we as the Boerelegioen came in behind the Gatvol hashtag and starting to drive it also. So this is not an organizational thing. This is not a one-man show trying to drive a campaign. And therefore I plead, and I made several public announcements pleading to organization leaders in South Africa not to think it is a Boerelegioen thing. We are only supporting the Gatvol campaign. I only crowned myself as the king of Gatvol for one reason, and that is most probably that I am the most Gatvol citizen in South Africa, trying to do something.
I love it.
I
absolutely love it.
It's almost like is almost like the king of the flies. It's not by choice, it's by it's by trying to do something.
Yeah, look, you know what you've done, Isaac, is you've really personalized the issue, and I think that's fantastic, because it kind of brings the focus into what is actually going on in South Africa. And I just want to quickly address the side chat and the people watching. We've got about 700 people watching right now, just so you know, so there's a good crowd here tonight. Please, guys, remember to put your questions into the side chat. I'll get the moderators to copy them and paste them to me later. And also, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, and ring the bell to get the updates. Now, okay, Isaac, you talked about the army. Now, I was reading a report just 2 days ago where they said the army is in crisis because they don't get any money from, guess who? This corrupt ANC government. You know, to me, it's like the army is a pushover. I think the Zimbabwean army could walk into South Africa and take over South Africa right now, and the Zimbabwean army is not great, let's face it. I'm just amazed that people in South Africa don't realize that this force charade of, you know, the ANC government being all powerful and all strong is a load of BS. They've got nothing. You know, they're just hanging on to this whole idea of, or suggestion, that it's a democratic government, when that is a load of crap. What you've got is you've got a gangster state, and you've got this captive white Indian colored community who are just sitting there like, you know, they're a deer in the headlights. They're doing nothing about it. I can't understand why the adults in the room don't say, enough's enough, I'm Gatvol, let's fix this.
No, that is our calling. That is our alarm that we are speaking for our people. If there was a time in the history of South Africa to stand up, it's now. We can take action legally by means of a supportive or a campaign that is already started in the UK by Jesse Casanova. He already did the documentation according to the international law, driving a legal rebellion against the tyranny of governments suppressing their citizens. And it's not only the white citizens in South Africa that are suppressed. Go to the townships, see and witness the manner in which the army and the police are treating normal, law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
Pushing them around,
Killing them.
slapping them,
Killing them.
arresting them, killing them, arresting them for walking on the beach, grabbing children. You know, never in my life sou ek myself kon indink dat daar ooit that there ever in South Africa would exist the images that I saw the past month or two.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is why we are here. I call up the veterans and even the conservative soldiers in the conservative world globally. Veterans from armies around the world can join in to this campaign driven by Casanova from the UK. And I think that we are heading for a global clash between the liberals and the conservatives in this world. I think while we are still here before the rapture, before Jesus comes and collect us or rapture us away from this earth, there must be a resistance. There must be a resistance. And we have to stand up against this evil that is coming against all the normal, law-abiding Christian citizens of this world who are trying to earn a decent living, who are trying to earn a living by living by example and living a life of integrity and honesty. We don't deserve this kind of treatment. not by the ANC government, not by this new world order managed by Lucifer himself, it seems. And we have to stand up against this global phenomena that is creating an atmosphere where they want to control each and every individual on this planet. We have to stop it.
Yeah, look, I totally agree with you, and I have to tell you that last night I had 4 remarkable people on, all working with charities and delivering food in South Africa. And those people were Jacques Pappenfuss, who's come out with this nutritious food additive, which is very inexpensive. An amazing man. He used to be a drug addict, and he's got his life together, and he's doing some amazing stuff. We have Patrick Fisher, who's from Farmers Aid South Africa, who, again, I mean, today, like every day, he's out there delivering food parcels to people who are crying out for help. And the number of lives that these people are saving, where the ANC government are just completely destroying. I mean, they only are interested in themselves. And then we have Melody van Brakel, who's from the Cradle of Hope last night on, and she was almost in tears talking about how desperate the situation is getting, and how the ANC government are putting spanners in the work to stop these charities helping starving people with food. And I'm not just talking white people, I'm talking about people who are black, colored, whatever, because you've got this 2-tier system in South Africa. Right at the top, you got the black privilege. You know, they talk about white privilege. You got the black privilege, which are the ANC cadres, the politicians, the Julius Malemas, the Cyril Ramaphosa's, the Dlamini Zumas, those people who are cleaning up. And then there's this huge gap, and then right down here at the bottom, you've got the rest of the community, which includes the whites, the blacks in the townships, the coloreds, who are just being left to just, die. They're just being totally screwed over. And it's extraordinary that there's still some whites out there in South Africa who still got the blinkers on and think everything is okay. What's your message to those whites who think that everything's okay in South Africa?
Scott, I just want to take off this thing.
Yeah, please do.
Your what do you call it, second-hand breath, it's not doing me good.
Well, you got rid of your smoko too. I love the way your cigarette sticks out.
Yeah, the smoke I'm saving for the day I'm coming out of the hospital. No, Scott, my message is that the people need to wake up. I think that was part of my attempt the other night when I posted the video, and is to wake up the normal people who are not seeing what's going on around them, who are not recognizing the fact that there's a definite threat standing up, and that the hostile organizations are opportunists. They are using this whole scenario of lockdown and COVID-19 to achieve their goals in order to I want to go to the extent to say that they want to chase white people into the sea. They want to destroy white businesses. They want to destroy your towns. They want to take over your historical town. And if we as a collective are not going to wake up, gather around a gemeenskaplike doel. And this gemeenskaplike doel at this stage I see as this #Gatvol, that everyone is feeling the same. Everyone is feeling the same deep inside their hearts. That need a bit of introspection. Everyone need to recognize the fact that they are being treated like children. They are being bullied by the ANC government. They are under attack by the police and the army. And there's no light in the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel. We don't know how long this lockdown is going to be maintained, artificially maintained. Because I really don't believe that this COVID-19 virus is much more than a normal influenza virus.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
That is my real observation. I think what we saw the past 3 months playing in front of us, and research being done by brilliant people, brilliant medical people around the world, just threw the light on the lie. And this lie is that this virus is artificially blown out of proportion to reach a certain goal. And I think that goal is to get control by forcing down the vaccine, by destroy the middle class, so that because the middle class is at this stage, or according to my opinion and my observation, is the middle class the real threat for this cabal to reach their end goals, and that is to control the populations around the world.
Well, I have to just say that I think there's an extraordinary situation in South Africa. Because if you look at the rest of the world, apart from a couple of places in America where they have Bible belts, the Boer and the Africana population still hold very close to their belief and their Christian values. And if you look at even Australia, that has kind of got lost. It's kind of got lost, and people are, the families, the breakup of families around the world, which has been orchestrated by this cabal, the lefties with so-called human rights and crap like that. All they're doing is they're just destroying the moral infrastructure around the world. And there's just one community that really stands out that is saying, BS, we're not going to do that. And that is the Boers. And that's, as I say, you can look anywhere in the world. Look at Europe. The whole moral structure of society has collapsed. And it's just that community in South Africa, the Boers, which is saying, no, we are going to stick with our God, our beliefs, our values, and it's extraordinary when you consider the situation they're facing under this feral ANC government.
You see what happened to Trump took a stand, and he said that the churches are doing essential services. And he immediately, without any explanation, he opened up the churches.
Yeah.
Unconditionally. And I think that put a lot of people around the world, leaders or president or heads of state around the world, under pressure. Even Cyril Ramaphosa, and he decided to conditionally open the churches. And that is so insane to expect from a church that has a seating of 1,000 people to just allow 50 people. Yeah. What the hell is he thinking is the purpose of the church? Is to bring the broken and the sick in. And now, what will happen on Sunday when 1,000 people arrive at the church? Now the pastor and the preacher or the dominee have to show 1,000 or 950 people away and allow 50 people to enter the church.
Yeah.
How insane is that?
It's crazy.
They are making a mockery of God. That is what they are doing. And we as Christians are allowing it. I don't know why we are sitting ducks. In Afrikaans noem ons dit doodhouer goggas. En ons sit te kyk net vir mekaar. Looking around. What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And when someone tries to stand up and call the people and tell them, hey man, what the hell is going on? Dan sê hulle, Here, jy gaan maak nou die deur oop, jy gaan tronk toe. We have a right. We have an international right, a right according to international law, to stand up against a cabal who are mistreating the citizens. And that's what we saw the past 3 months happening in front of our eyes. And we are doing nothing.
Yeah.
These regulations are enforced not to fight the COVID-19, but to enslave the citizenry of South Africa.
I totally agree with you.
And they succeeded in doing that. And we are doing nothing about it. And that's why I put on the crown and said, I'm the king of Gatvol. Now come to
that suits you. You should keep it on. No.
Under the hashtag Gatvol.
Yeah.
And come and stand with us.
Yeah, exactly.
There is lots of leaders in South Africa who will walk in front, who will lead the pack.
Yeah.
To a place where we can stand and tell the government, we are not fools, we are not children, you're not going to do that, you're not going to sell us out anymore, and you are not going to allow us or enforce us not to educate our children, to send them to school.
Well, just for the record,
what is the story with the schools?
It's crazy.
The schools should have opened today for the matrics and grade 7s.
Yeah.
All the preparation was done. Money was given out. Was spent to get the schools in terms of the prevention of the COVID-19 up to standard. And where's Madam Mochega? She didn't pitch. She cancelled the appointment. I don't know whether she did a media statement today.
Isaac, the problem is they're clueless. They are absolutely clueless. That's the problem. It's time the adults in the room took over the classroom. That's what we're talking about. Just for the record, we got well over 800 people watching right now. Please, guys, remember to subscribe to be kept informed to this channel, and post your questions in the side chat now. I see that Noreen Sass wrote, "This is all old news, Scott. Enough rhetoric and mudslinging. What needs to be done to stop the starvation of all South African people?" Well, you know, that's a paradoxical question, because what needs to be done to stop the starvation in South Africa is the ANC government needs to be given the boot, and the adults in the room need to come back and take over again, because what these hopeless, incompetent, corrupt ANC cadres have done is screwed the country. That's what we're talking about, and it's because they've screwed the country that this country is starving. If you had people who knew what they were doing running the country, South Africa would not be in this position. That's why it's so important we talk about these things. Now, sorry, Isaac, back to you.
No, I agree. I fully agree with you, Scott, and I think that the real leaders in South Africa have to stand up, come together, make a plan, and if the citizens agree that we have to take over this government by force, then we do it by force.
Yeah.
And I mean it. I don't threat the government with any coup d'etat or whatever, but the citizens must decide. The citizens must decide whether they want to serve under this corrupt government. And if the whole nation doesn't want to decide, the minorities in this country have to come together and make a decision whether we want to serve under this ANC government or not. And if we don't want to, then we have to take the necessary steps to get rid of them in terms of international law. And I think that laws makes wide provision for a minority group to get rid of the government they don't want to rule over them.
Well, I think a federal outcome is the best, where you have an area that community is basically looking after their own interests, like the ULA and USAF and Cape Exit and the Cape Party. They're all looking for a similar type of thing. I just wish they could work together, because, you know, having your own area in South Africa which you govern without these Dlamini Zumas and the rest of this crap coming out with these crazy laws under the lockdown, you're going to go nowhere. You're going to go nowhere. And starvation is going to get worse.
I fully agree with you, Scott, and I want to go further as to say that if they can succeed in getting the Cape and the Northern Cape and the Eastern Cape, it will be excellent. Then at least there is a piece of South Africa that can be governed. But I want to go further and say that in each town, the minority groups have to stand up against the municipalities and take over. They can do that according to international law, and they can take over what belongs to them historically. And we just have to formulate the legal opinion in this regard and set up a proper legal document, because I am 100% certain that we have a legal right to take over and separate ourselves from the ANC ruled areas outside the towns in South Africa, and even the cities. A city like Pretoria, who's got a historical, it's a historical, it's in fact the historical backbone of the existence of the Boer folk and the Africana folk in South Africa, with the monuments and the old buildings and the architecture in the city like Pretoria.
Yeah.
So I think we definitely have a legal right to claim back what belongs to us, and we have to do that as a collective, not as splinter groups, as a collective.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to pose a question to the nearly 900 people watching right now. If you live in South Africa, and you've been living in South Africa pre-1994, in other words, if you're sort of like in your mid-40s or older, if you think South Africa is better today under this ANC government, type or just put in 1 in the side chat. If you think South Africa has gone to the dogs compared to pre-1994, when you look at what's happening in South Africa today, forget about the lockdown. Think about just before the lockdown. If you think South Africa has just gone to the dogs, put in 2. I want to see what the collective people here think. And if you agree that South Africa has gone to the dogs under this ANC government, then it's time for the people in South Africa to take a stand, which is what Isaac is talking about. It's time for the people to say, that's it, we're Gatvol, we've had enough, we're now going to do our own thing. Now, look, I want to get back to the New World Order that you just touched on, Isaac. It's quite clear that government policy is being dictated to the ANC cadres and the NCC and the ministers and so on by George Soros and the Open Society Foundation. They have infiltrated every level of government. Their Open Society Foundation staff are actually advisors now to several government departments of the ANC. They are writing the policy. Professor Ruth Hall from PLAS in Cape Town, it's an NGO. It's funded by George Soros and the Open Society Foundation. You can go and look up Professor Ruth Hall and PLAS, which is the Afrikaans for farm. It's an acronym. It doesn't actually mean farm. And you will see that she is very involved with the policy related to the expropriation without compensation of land in South Africa. These are the communists who are actually running South Africa. It's not actually the ANC members of parliament with their collective IQ of about 50. It's these people behind the scenes who have no mandate from the population of South Africa, who are pushing through policy and laws that are impacting everybody in South Africa. That's what's actually going on behind the scenes. Do you agree with me, Isaac?
Totally, I agree fully, Scott. It is white people who are misusing the black leaders to get to the white people. So we are sitting here with a white situation, and I think we have to have a look into those behind the scenes.
Yeah.
and identify them. And I think Donald Trump is taking huge steps in exposing the terrorists behind the New World Order, not behind it, who are driving the New World Order and who are enslaving the populations around the world. And hopefully, during his second term, I believe that he's going to make history, because then he will start the legal processes against this people. He's building cases now in his first term, and in the second term he will clamp down on them. I think if he can start the process there, and the population can start rebellions everywhere in Europe, getting into a direct conflict in opposition. In other words, we are not sitting ducks anymore. We are opposing these systems. And I see it's happening all over. You know, if you watch the social media, there's lots of intelligent people coming, fighting for the side of the conservative part of the world.
Right.
And if we can see that movement getting momentum, and Donald Trump will be the first president clamping down on this cabal, then we can create a new world. This new world they want to create is not a new world where people will live free and everyone will have a free say and rights and exercise their rights. What we are seeing is that minorities, although the minorities in the world, the white people, the Christian people, the people who are maintaining the economies of the countries, who are the people who are behaving, who are law-abiding, they are under target by this cabal, and we need to stop that. We need to stop, bring a full stop to that.
Well, look, I have to tell you, I put that question to people watching the live stream about how South Africa is compared to pre-1994, and every single one, and there are hundreds of people who've typed 2 to say that the ANC have totally stuffed up South Africa. There's not one person who's put a 1 suggesting that it's better now in South Africa. And I think that speaks for the mood in South Africa. And as you said, it's really the time for the leaders of these organizations to just call the bluff of the ANC and say, nah, enough's enough, we're Gatvol, now the adults are going to take over the classroom.
You see, the ANC became a strong force when they joined hands with the SACP and all the other organizations. They became a strong international force. And what should happen in South Africa is that there must be a Afrikaner Boere Nasionale Kongres wat gehou moet word waar die volk, where the people choose or elect their own leadership. Their own.
Yeah.
People who can talking on behalf of the whole of the white people, not on behalf of a minority of a minority. If you see the political parties representing the white people, they are talking on behalf of the minority of the minority. What should happen is that the white people, all 4 million of them, send their leaders to a central congress, and where there will be a week of debate and brainstorming and whatever you want to call it, and there should be an election taking place where the people choose their own government, and that government will be responsible for driving everything in this country into a direction. That is my view. It can play out in many ways, but I think this Gatvol hashtag can create such an atmosphere in South Africa, where the people decide that enough is enough, and we take control, and we will elect our leaders, and we will mandate our leaders to act on our behalf and do what is necessary to get rid of this evil.
Yeah, well, look, I think, as I said earlier, I think Gatvol is a wonderful way to kind of bring everything into perspective, because it's such a simple but powerful term. And I think you've just hit the nail on the head with that. Now, let's look at coming out of the other side of this lockdown that the ANC have put onto the community in South Africa. You've got Cyril Ramaphosa saying that when we come out the other side, that's when we're going to have black economic transformation. And Malema's basically saying the same thing: stuff the whites, stuff white business, we're going to build a new black world. Now, when you consider that most of the taxes in South Africa come from the white community and white businesses, and I think Johan Rupert, in his own right, he provides about 30% of the taxation in South Africa. When you consider these factors, they're talking about destroying the tax base. So how are they going to pay all the people on Social Security, the SASSA cards? How are they going to pay that? How are they going to support the million of unemployed who will, and there'll be a growing number of unemployed because the white people who have businesses are the economic drivers in the country. You know, there's one thing that is completely missing in this when it comes to the black politicians, and that is the L factor, the logic factor. It's completely missing in action. They've got no understanding of the consequences of what they're talking about. What do you think, Isaac?
No, that is absolutely true. There's no logic, and I don't think there's any way that they care what happens to South Africa. You know, Africa. If we look at Africa, there's no ambition to build empires. There's no ambition to build infrastructure. There's no ambition to become a first world country anywhere in Africa. So the Africans, according to me, their mentality, they don't care as long as they destroy white monopoly capital. They don't want to possess it. That's not their desire to possess the white monopoly capital. They want to destroy what is built by the white people so that they can live in peace in African conditions. That is according to me. I think the spirit behind this whole drive is nothing but jealousy. Nothing but, in Afrikaans noem ons dit afguns. All the spirits of the flesh what you get in the Bible. Afguns, jealousy, heart, night. That is the spirits that we are seeing playing out in front of us. And given the fact that white people are the most contributors to the tax system, even if they withdraw from the economy of South Africa and starting to do business amongst themselves and refuse that stuursars in hulle kan onder, I don't think that will bother them. They will just carry on making loans from China, and, expecting money from the Soros foundations and the Bill Gates foundations and those people who are driving the forces. What I know is that we are going through a very, very bad time in South Africa as white people. But in the midst of the crisis, I think the people will unite, and they will start realizing that doing business amongst each other, amongst our own people, keep our money within the folk, will play a big role for us to pull through and at the end become stronger. And back at the ranch, everything will fall apart.
Yeah.
And we have to make a stand. We have to make a stand defending our territories, defending our property, defending our lives, and become a strong army again, a folks army, a people's army, who are standing up and do what is necessary according to your rights that is written in the international law. And that is basic human rights. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to live a proper life. You have the right to choose. You have the freedom of speech. You have the freedom of everything. It's written in the basic list of human rights that is listed in the international law. So I think we have to relax behind this whole campaign and start to live again. And I want to give the people a bit of hope. And that is, despite the darkness around us, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Every time, all the way, all the time. During the ages of our history, there was always a light at the end of the tunnel. And we as a people, as a minority, as white people, Christian people, will be better off at the end. We are going through tough times, but we will be better off at the end.
Right.
But that is dependent on how we are going to stick together, stand together, and help each other.
Right. Now, we've got over 900 people watching the live stream at the moment. I want to just raise something that a lot of people are talking about in the side chat, and that is this organization called Antifa, which is sponsored by George Soros, unsurprisingly. He's actually the money man behind Antifa. Now, Donald Trump yesterday proclaimed that Antifa is a terrorist organization in the United States of America. The question is if Trump takes in the fact that Antifa is funded and basically organized by Soros, that means that Soros is a terrorist. That means that he should go behind bars on treason. And if that happens, this could be a complete game changer around the world, because all these open society foundations in Europe and in South Africa that are controlling things, they will become a pariah.
You know, the same way Trump acted against General Soleimani of Iran, I expect that he should act in the same manner against this cabal. You know, when I started to read up on Jesse Casanova's information that he provided, and I'm going to make a deep study about our rights and our do's and don'ts regarding international law, and what we can do and what we cannot do. But what I've read thus far, according to that, what is the law? There's a certain law that was quoted there, that as a collective decided that the authorities that is appointed to rule over them are not sufficient anymore and are treasonous.
Right.
And are oppressing the people. They are obliged by international law to give a 30 days notice, telling them to stand off. And if they don't stand off, and they don't, we don't have the force or the powers to arrest them and bring them to book, then there is a part that say that these treasoners can be executed. That is strong, very strong words that I'm using.
Yeah.
But that is the measures that we have to bear in mind when we start doing this campaign and start getting the people together and elect a leadership to act on our behalf, and for that leaders to do the proper research and start a process of legal action against this treasonous government. And no, there's steps to follow. and I don't want to overstep my boundaries tonight, but I think that we have all the right in the world as a minority that act as a collective, as a one group, as a one minority. And that includes every man, woman and child in the white Afrikaans English-speaking community in South Africa. Even the brown people, the colored people and the Indians who want to join into this campaign. That if the leadership of that group of people decided that it's time to get rid of this government, then we get rid of them. And follow all the measures that is written in the law that we can use on our behalf to work for us. Then we use that measures. And if we need international support to do that, then we go to the extent to get that international support. And I foresee in South Africa that we don't need to move a centimeter to another province to make that province our new home. Where you are staying, in your town, which got the history, which got the heritage, we have a monumental, a rich history in South Africa. That the white people in most of the towns were the first people.
Yeah. You know, you've raised something that's...
I have a legal right to give this government notice, even in the municipality.
Yeah.
They are the government representatives in the municipalities, elected by the majority of people. And if we decide that we draw the line and draw the border around our towns, and we as a collective within that borders decide that we want to govern ourselves, we give notice to the municipality. Tell them, get off. Go and rule over the ANC or over your own people. We will start our own municipality governing ourselves with our own money. And we keep the economy inside, within the towns, and we keep the money there and we give to our people the jobs. In other words, you make the regulations, you make the law in that town, and you decide who's going to appoint who. What is the verhouding van die werksplek?
Yeah.
Hoe hy moet lyk.
Well, you've raised a really interesting suggestion, and I think this is probably a really good way to go in the interim. What I want to do is compare the response that's happening in America, which is clearly orchestrated by the loony left side, to that black fella who was who died after being arrested. This is what all the crap is about in America, and it's clearly just an orchestrated situation. Now, taking the suggestion you raised about these small towns, you know, when these farm murders happen, or a white person has a home invasion and there's something, they're assaulted or raped or whatever, if the white community in that town said, enough's enough, we're Gatvol, we're now going to make this, like Orania, our town. Reclaim that town. Kick the ANC councillors out.
Yeah.
Let the army try and come
Yeah.
in. Let the police try and take back the place. And I tell you what, I think you will find that a lot of towns will say, we're going to do this too. We're going to take back our town from these idiots who are running it.
I can guarantee you, if we succeed in taking one town back,
It'll happen all
within
over.
all over the country, the towns will do the same. So we have to formulate a precise, excellent plan, how we are going as a collective, chasing after one town, doing the other one, and how we are going to do it. But I think the time is up. The time is up for the ANC in South Africa.
Yeah, because if 100 towns in South Africa did this, let's just say there was like an explosion of towns that said, hey, we've had enough, kick out the ANC councillors, this is now our area, we're going to control it, and the ANC have got no jurisdiction over us. And if you had that happening in 100 places in South Africa, across the country, it would be game over. because the ANC would have
They-
no answer to that.
It will be game over for the national government.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we can take back the union buildings, and we can take back Pretoria, and we can take back Cape Town, the Parliament. And I think that is the way to go.
Yeah, and it could be any little town. It could be Victoria West. It could be Philippolis. It could be some little town that just says, "That's it. We've had enough."
I would love if my town, Middelburg, can start the process and finish it up here. Then, then we can set an example from the head office.
Yeah, yeah. Now, okay. So let's not discuss this any further, because I think it's a fabulous option, and you know you've got some work to do on that. But let's get back to Boerelegioen. Where how is that going as an organization right now? Are you getting a lot of people joining you?
Yeah, we are exploding, Scott, and we are also taking hands with lots of other organizations, and I think we can talk about 120,000 people between the different organizations that we can put on a parade ground. Yeah. So but we have to still get to the point where we mobilize people, and I don't want to see a situation where we mobilize people to a parade ground. And for me, a parade ground is not a place where we start a war. A parade ground is for me a place where we listen carefully what God wants to tell us. That is a place of silence. It's a place where the people comes together and just listen what the Spirit of God wants to tell us. And from there we take decisions. You are not marching to the front from the parade ground. From the parade ground, you go back to the drawing board with a mandate of the people. For me, there's a little bit of water still needed in the nog 'n bietjie water in die emmer nodig. If we can reach a estimate number of boots on the ground of around 300,000 to 500,000 people, I think then we have 10% of the total white population.
Right.
That will be enough for a mandate to do certain things. As jy die verhaal van Gideon in die Bybel lees, Gideon het 300 man bymekaar gemaak and they started the process. And after they started the process of destroying the enemy, then the rest of the nation climbed on the bus and they started to work together. So iemand moet die proses begin, en ek dink 500,000 mense wat 'n mandaat gee vir 'n proses om radikale verandering te begin. I don't speak about the political process. There's no space really if you want change. The political party in parliament representing the white people now, they are playing a vital role in being the voice of the white people.
We're talking about the Freedom Front Plus.
Yeah, they can never bring change.
Yeah.
So we need a radical movement in South Africa to create change and to bring change in South Africa. And if I speak of change, I speak of change of regime. There must be a change of the regime in South Africa, a regime change.
Yeah. Look, I've got an enormous amount of time for Dr. Piet Groenewald. I think he's a fantastic and intelligent man.
He is a fantastic leader, and I will love to have him heading such a congress of groups, acting as a leader. But it's not for me to decide. The people will decide who will be the leader.
Right. Now, I'm just going to address people watching. We've got about 900 watching right now. If you want to pose questions to Isaac, just please put them in the side chat. I've got a few questions here for him that we'll be getting into shortly. And also, please remember to subscribe to this channel to be kept informed and ring the bell for the updates. We have some really interesting live streams most nights at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time. Now, let's get back to the situation here. Let's look at timelines. We see how fast things can happen when we look at what's going on in America right now in places like Washington, Minneapolis, in Los Angeles, where there's this looting happening and there's a lot of civil unrest that is clearly getting out of control. The police cannot handle it. And we're talking about a very sophisticated police force, the American police force. In South Africa, the police service is a joke. I mean, they can't get their act together. Half the police, from what I see, are drunk half the time. You know, they just, you see them staggering around. They can't even stand up. There's no discipline. And clearly, if there was a better time than right now to actually take a stand by being Gatvol, I can't think of one, because this, the whole thing is in chaos in South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we want to make any impression and play the role of the intimidator, it's now. I think if we can get 10,000 people or 100,000 people at one place, I think some of the politicians will start packing their bags and running for the aeroplane. I know that. Because 100,000 full boere together, it must be a vicious view from where Ramaphosa is sitting, or where the municipality, the burgemeester, what you call it, the mayor is sitting. It must be a vicious view when 100,000 Gatvol boere are on the same place, at one place together, agreeing, standing together, and acting as a team, as a one people.
Right. Now, I'm just going through the questions. Okay, I'm just going to pose this to you, Isaac. Pierre asks, what is the influence of the Chinese with the ANC? Do you think there's a yellow peril we're talking about in South Africa?
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of speculation of a Chinese military force that are trained here and training our people. We are only aware of what you call it, a squad of Chinese police executives coming here to train the Johannesburg Metro Police. That was all training that I'm aware of. Other stories are what, according to my understanding, was only made up. It's fake news. But there is a definite hand that China is having in the decisions made in South Africa by the politicians. And I know the Zuma faction of the ANC are very well known, being close friends to the Chinese. And China for South Africa is becoming, what, according to me, a real threat. And I think we as a minority people have to make a decision to boycott all the products of China in South Africa, supporting our own products, because the cheap stuff coming from China is only a waste of money in any way.
Now, I've just got a message from Michelle Mullard, which is just, I mean, it's one of the most uplifting messages I've seen. And the background is that I've had Hein Marks, and I've had Des Payne, and I've had other organizations who are looking for secession on a live stream on my channel, and we get on really well. And unfortunately, like so often happens, is that they have some kind of a personal issue. And I put forward this suggestion that Dr. Hammond act as a mediator for these groups. And I know Dr. Hammond. I've had him on my live stream, a lovely man, extraordinary missionary. And Michelle says Dr. Hammond has started the Cape Independence Advocacy Group as promised for all the groups to work together. So it looks like it's starting to happen, and that's fantastic to hear, Michelle. Thank you for letting me know. Wow. Now, if we can all work together, and I'm talking about all these organizations, including AfriForum and Solidarity, and all these organizations get together around a round table, that would be a tremendously strong political force, wouldn't it?
You know, Scott, the test of uniting the leaderships of the different groups is in a very small, usually around a very small subject. We try to gather all the groups around the subject of safety. That's when we started the Boerelegioen. And now we are even making use of not the Boerelegioen. We are only supporting the campaign. It's not the Boerelegioen campaign. #Gatvol.
Yeah.
And the test for every group leader in South Africa to see if they really want to unite is around that hashtag. There's no leadership. There's nothing. It's just a hashtag. It's just a campaign driven by an individual. He's only the facilitator of the campaign. And the test for everyone to bring their boots to a central place, for everyone to see how many boots they have on the ground, is around the hashtag Gatvol. I think what has to happen is that everyone that had the guts to take a photo of the hashtag Gatvol in his hand, posted it under the hashtag Gatvol on Facebook. They will also have the guts to get into their cars going to a central place that will be made known in the near future and come together as a collective, as a people, and listen to what the leaderships of the different organizations have to say. Right. And I think that is an excellent starting point for people to test their own interior motives, their own agendas, to support the hashtag Gatvol. I support the hashtag Gatvol. It's not a brainchild of the Boerelegioen. It's a brainchild of someone sitting in the UK who started the process already there. No one is running the show here. It's coordinated by an individual who are not linked to any of the groups. And he started the process. The Boerelegioen came on board. The Federation for Boere Safety Groups, we are debating it right now, and most of the people on that federation said we are in, we are joining.
Fantastic.
I received calls from several group leaders in South Africa, and they said we are joining in. Ons val in. Ons gaan saam met julle aan hierdie Gatvol. Some of them are very offensive. They are very extreme plans. But as we get together, we will ons sal al daai goeders bespreek. We will discuss it and take proper decisions as to what we have to do. But I think out of this hashtag Gatvol, the group leaders will have to come together at one point in time, have a plan for the people of South Africa, the white people, the white minority people of South Africa, and allowing a process of democracy to take its course, and so that the white minority can choose and elect a leadership. There's lots of ways to do it. You can do it electronical, you can do it by means of a voting system, a manual system. But I think it's time that the collective of South Africa elect their own leadership.
Absolutely.
And that is representatives of farming, representatives of industry, representatives
shadow
of mining, a shadow government for the white minority, not only for the white minority, even the coloureds and the Indian people.
Okay, now that's very important, because Delita Winterbach has asked, does the Boere you talk about include coloureds and Indians or just whites? Well, you've just heard from General Izak van Zyl. He says it includes all the minority groups.
But I think we have to think in a confederate type of mindset when we include other cultural groups.
Yeah.
Because as an ethnical Christian group, we have I think the authority to choose our own leadership. But they also have the authority to choose their own leadership, and the different leaderships can talk to each other, agreeing on points. And I don't think we have to integrate the leadership and allow a white man to rule over a brown community, and Indian man or a woman to govern over a white community, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, so we're talking about a federation of states.
Yeah. I think what we have to do is get into a position. But I think a good point to start is with the Boere people, the Afrikaner people, the white people.
Okay, I'm going to start putting the questions to you, Isaac, because we've got a bunch here. Vernon Delport asked, is this the opening salvo of a civil war? Well, I personally don't think there'll be a civil war. I think the ANC will just head for the bush and run.
Yeah, I don't think there will be a civil war neither, because I think when the white people stand up for their rights as a collective, there will be no resistance from there, if any. Very little resistance, if any. That is my personal view. We might get some lashbacks from the communities itself, but if we get our ducks in a row in our territories, in our towns, creating reaction forces who are able to defend their territories, I don't think the attack will come. I really don't think. If they know there's resistance, there will be no attack.
Right.
That is the mentality of the black people.
Right. Now, when we talk about the black people, we're not generalizing across the entire group. We're talking about this cabal that are just completely out of control. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When I refer to black people, I refer in a negative way. I refer to the criminal part of the black population.
Exactly.
That is the communists and the Marxists and the people who are believing that the whites are trash and the whites are the demons of South Africa. Yeah. And we don't belong here. I'm speaking about them. Right. There's many good black people, and I have many black friends in my work environment. In my police career, I made very good black friends, and I'm not a racist when I refer to blacks. I refer to that cabal type of setup. And I put Soros and the New World Order and the Bill Gates Foundation and all those guys who are driving the New World Order and who are funding the racists in South Africa, the black racists. Ek skeer hulle almal onder dieselfde kam. They are the same people.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, next question. Klipkop has asked, how do we breach the gap between the Boer and the Cape Africana?
Yeah, there's quite a division created by individuals in South Africa, and I don't want to elaborate on that. There's a certain group that believes the Cape Dutch is evil, and they are not part of the Boer folk. Then you get people who believe they are not Boers, they are only Afrikaners, known as Afrikaners. That's why we are not referring to, we are the Boerelegioen, for one reason. Because the Boer people coming from or descending from the people in the concentration camps and the people who were fighting the war against the British in the Anglo-Boer Wars and the Freedom Wars in South Africa. They were known as Boers. And that's the only reason I refer to the Boerelegion as the Boerelegioen and not the Afrikaner Legion. Because the Afrikaner, the term Afrikaner is not, according to me, the collective word for Boer and Afrikaners. For me, the collective word is Boers. And that's the only reason is that we made history during the Anglo-Boer War. And the bridge between the Cape Dutch Afrikaner and the people known as Boers has got only one division or line of separation, and that is a belief system. People who refer to themselves as Boers mostly are people who are believing in the Old Testament. They are referring to Jesus as Joshua Messiah, and to God Almighty, our Father in heaven, the God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, they refer to as Yahweh. And they are more into the law than into the grace, the dispensation of grace after the crucifixion of Jesus. So that is an ideology, a religious difference in the belief system, and that can be breached. The only way that it can be breached is to give recognition to both sides. And if every one of us can be accommodating the way of the normal Christians, and if every one of us who are believing in the Old Testament that we are part of the folk of Israel, we are all, if you are a Christian, you are part of the folk of Israel, according to what Jesus said. There's a scripture in the word that says that jy's ingeënt op die wingerdstok. Dis die mense wat nie bloedafstammelinge van die volk van Israel is. That's the goyim that the Jews refer to, die heidene. Dis die mense wat Paulus gaan bereik het in sy sending. So yeah, it's a very difficult thing, but I think the fact that we are white, that we are all believing in a Messiah who was crucified and who was raised from the dead, who died for our sins. Hy wat opgevaar het na die hemel, and he's sitting now at the right hand side of the Father, and he's fighting for us, believers, his children. We are his children, and if you believe that, whether you are believing in the Old Testament or whatever, but you give recognition to the fact that Jesus Christ died on the cross, there will be no difference between Cape Dutch and Afrikaner. No difference.
Right.
Because we have the same history. Afrikaners and Boers fight in the Anglo-Boer War. There is a part of Cape Dutch that are very, very, very liberal, but they are directly connected to this cabal. And I see them through the same eyes. I look at Soros. When I look at them, I see Soros. When I look at Soros, I see them. The Broederbond, the Freemasons, the people who are at this stage ruling the towns, they are not our people. They are not our people. When I speak of Boers, Boere people, I speak of the ons noem hulle die opregtes, die ouens wat opregte hart het.
The righteous.
With integrity, the righteous.
Yeah.
They are also the remnant. And they are not looking for trouble. They are not confronting the liberals in any way, really. Except if the liberals are treating us like the enemy. And we see that. And we experience it. You know, a guy called Petser, wat sy naam? Daai klein Petser, he had a live stream the other day. No, it wasn't him, it was Boer Media, Mr. Farensburg. He tramped and he had quite a good, solid reasoning to trust this editor of News 24 when he referred to us as we are dumb people if we don't see what's going wrong, what happened in America, and we don't recognize the fact that it was a racist attack. Then Van Rensburg came and he said, you are putting guilt on us. For what? For what reason are you putting guilt on us? Why don't you recognize the fact that white farmers are being murdered by gangs of black people? Isn't that racist? Isn't that racist when Ramaphosa goes into the international arena denying that farmers are being murdered? Isn't that racist that black officers, police officers and traffic officers are intimidating white people left, right and center, arresting them, putting them in jail for nothing? Isn't that racist?
Yeah.
So that is the way he handled it, and I think it's time that we as conservatives, I think there's the conservative part of the white minority, and we might be the minority in the total picture. The conservative part, if we measure it on the referendum of when the folk had to decide for the news or for or against the New South Africa,
Right.
and the yes vote won by quite a majority. So we can accept that the majority of white people in South Africa will not be on the side and will not be even attempting to join into this endeavor, or what do you call it, begeerte van die conservatives om 'n leierskap te kies. But even if we have 50% of the 5 million people, or 40%,
That's a
who
large
can
number.
vote for it, it's a large number. We speak about
Yeah.
2 to 3 million white people who can elect a government for themselves, who are talking on their behalf, and who can make decisions on their behalf,
Right.
and taking extreme measures to ensure self-determination or enforce self-determination.
Right. Now, I've got another question here for you. Functional Fitness asks, please ask General Van Zyl what points of common interest will bring all the minority movements to the discussion table, with the agenda being focused on electing one leader who can represent them. Now, I guess from my point of view, it's going to be something where the ANC oversteps the mark and the minority groups say, that's it, we've had enough. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott, but I want to expand it a bit, and I think there's a number of issues that we can bring to the table, and that and part of that issues is the way that we were treated during the lockdown. I think that is something that we will never forget and neither forgive.
Yeah.
The second point I want to raise is the campaign to dispower or to bring down white monopoly capital, including if the focus of the black majority is the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers and those guys, I don't really mind, but leave the average businessman, leave the average farmer, leave the average entrepreneur in South Africa out of this. We don't deserve this type of treatment by a majority rule. And I think that is one of the points that we can bring to the table and make a decision upon it. The third thing I think that we can agree upon is education. I think we have the right to raise our children in our home language. and allow them to go to school receiving education in their home language. So this attack on Afrikaans as a home language, we can bring that to the table. And this, I think, if you go into the whole, there's 130 laws being created by the ANC government since 1994, where you can actually take out the articles in those different laws and put them on the table as discriminatory laws against white people. To put a label on the white man and to put the white man in cuffs so that he cannot move. Only to take the ESTA laws, where the farmer have no right to remove people from his farm who are actually looting, squatting there and stealing his stock and stealing his mealies or whatever. The cost aspect that the law put on the farmer to now go to law, take out the money to pay his lawyers to drive a legal process. I think that is not fair. That is not fair.
Yeah.
There's lots of laws that we can bring up. 130 of them. We at the Boerelegioen made a list of all the laws, and at this stage we are working through every law and see if we can look into a sort of what do you call it, a class action lawsuit at one point in time, but
right.
The time will tell. Time will teach us which direction we will take.
I think the only trouble there is that the judiciary in South Africa is now corrupted. You know, you've got their own little cadres in there as well, which is really sad. Now, Willem Janse van Rensburg has asked, I have a question for the General. Will he stand up and take a leadership?
At this point in time, I'm elected as the leader of the Boerelegioen. That is not a leader of the Afrikaner or the minority people in South Africa. I didn't think that far, never. I wasn't thinking that far. For me, the priority is to get the leaders together and allow the people to elect their own leadership. I don't know even if I'm going to stand for that. I'm not a politician. I'm not an educated law person. I'm only a police officer trying to bring people together. So regarding leadership, I never thought about that. And but if the people insist that I have to stand in front, being elected like Miss World, parade around and doing my best to debate stuff and going into that, I'm not scared of doing that, but I didn't think that far. I didn't think that far yet. For me, it's important that we get our community safe at this stage, at this point in time, to make the people aware of the threat that is coming to us, and to talk to as many as possible leaders in the country that is forming part or are representing a group of people of the white minority.
Right.
And I'm even talking to leaderships of other cultural groups as well.
Okay, I've got another question here for you, Isaac. Devon Wills says, please to clear this up once and for all, what part did Isaac play in the Boerelegioen trial? I don't know what that's all about, but maybe you do.
Yeah, no, there was a campaign against me driven by a few extremist right-wingers where they brought some proof that I uttered during an interview with one of what is her name? Yeah, that was also a social media interview that I conducted where I said that I formed part of the investigation teams that arrested the Boerelegioen back in the 80s.
Right.
Now, I think they interpreted the whole story behind it because we talked about Derek Newson and the way he refused to follow the protocol that we as a different groupings in South Africa established to stay on the right side of the law. We agreed that we are staying on the right side of the law. And during the discussion, I made a comment and I said that I formed part of the Boerelegioen investigations. Now, what I actually meant was that I was in the police, part of the provincial top management, when the investigations of the Boerelegioen was done. And in line of my duty, I was sitting in meetings where the Boerelegioen situation was discussed. And I received several instructions from my general, my provincial commissioner, and my direct commanders to issue media statements as a communication spokesperson for the police at that stage. So I was never directly involved in teams who investigated the Boerelegioen and who went about to arrest it. I, in fact, warned members of the Boerelegioen at several occasions that the police are knowing what they are doing and there's investigations going on and they are going to be prosecuted if they continue with what they are planning to do. So yeah, now I'm seen as an informant, and that was never the case. I was never directly involved in the prosecution of or the arrests of the Boerelegioen. I was only forming part of a provincial management, the provincial Mpumalanga provincial management, who were tasked to establish task teams. And I was never part of the task teams, but I was, as the provincial spokesperson, directly involved in the communication part of the investigations, communicating and making media statements and reacting on questions from the media and stuff like that. So yeah, now that is my stance. No one could have expected from me during the time I served as a police officer, as a senior police officer. At that stage I was a colonel in the police, and expecting of me to disobey orders. If I was told to issue a media statement, then I had to issue a media statement on the facts that was at hand. And as a police officer, you are working with facts. And that is the way it is. If you have facts to issue a media statement, communicating the facts to the media, then you have to do it. And that was not intentionally from my side any ambition to bring down the Boerelegioen. Never.
Right. Now, Bonda has asked, how are the finances of the government? If the whites don't pay taxes anymore, how long will the government keep standing?
Well, that's a very, very difficult question that I think should be asked to one of the economists, Dawie Rood or someone. I think he can make an estimate of what is the income generated by the white minority in South Africa, and how long it will take to bring government down when they withdraw. But I can tell you, most of the biggest companies in South Africa and even the BBEE companies are driven by liberals, and they will never go to the extent to withdraw from the tax system. So if you are talking about 50% of the white population that can withdraw from the tax system, it can take longer. I think it will not have an immediate effect, but I think within 2 to 3 years we will see a definite what do you call it? Baie besliste afname in die bruto binnelandse produk of in die tax.
Right.
Tax van die.
Well, the government won't be able to support itself if the tax base collapses, and that is what is happening under this lockdown. Now, Devon Wills has asked, please to clear the... we've asked that one. Yeah. Property Power has asked, Scott, please ask Isaac to arrange for a date for all the people to come together.
Yeah, I think I volunteered actually to try to arrange such a get together. But before that, what we need to do is communicate or draw up a notice for the government. I already instructed the legal team of Boerelegioen to come up with a draft that we can communicate it with the other leaders of different groups, which they can also communicate with their legal teams and come up with one draft document that we can agree upon, which will serve as a notice to the ANC government. And then we give them 30 days. After that 30 days, there have to be a get-together, a protest, mass action, march, whatever you want to call it, but we have to mobilize white South Africa to one place or in different places around the country, in different towns, where we can make ourselves known as the hashtag Gatvol white South Africans. And then from there we can take action, definite action.
Right. Okay, now Margaret Temple asks, why does the General think about electing what does the General think about electing a shadow government idea? I think we talked about this a little while ago, and you said that that's something I think that the minority groups have to do.
Yeah, I only shared a thought. I think that is the way we have to do it. But that is not to say that it's going to happen that way. For me, the Gatvol, hashtag Gatvol, is a good start of getting people together. And from there, different ideas can be shared and the way forward can be discussed. That is not something that is an eyster gegiet. It is something that we have to embark on, and we can discuss that for something that is lying in the future. I think the first priority is now to gather people around the hashtag Gatvol, getting them to understand that it's not a one organizational thing. Boerelegioen is only supporting the campaign, and I expect from every other organization to also come in and join us with this campaign, because at the end we all have to decide what is the road and the decisions we have to make. It's not a one-man show. No one can decide on behalf of a total people, of a total white minority, what is going to happen. And therefore we have to formulate something, get a mandate from the people, and drive that process forward.
Right. Now, Yanni Meyer said the Chinese, they may come to the aid of the communist ANC. How will General van Zyl deal with this issue?
It depends on what. It depends on what they want to come to do here. If they want to come to the aid of the ANC government, providing them with funding or whatever, that's the responsibility of the ANC government, because they have to pay back the money. And we are not going to allow China to take over our towns, our historic heritage. If they want to declare themselves the enemy and intrude in our spaces, they will be treated in the same manner as we are going to treat die waansinnige hordes who want to take over our towns. So that on op die civiele vlak, on the civil level of governance, we have the obligation to protect what belongs to us. Our life and our lives, our families' lives, our people's lives, and our property.
Right. Now, how do people join the Gatvol movement?
Take a photo of yourself with the Gatvol hashtag board like I did. You can also declare yourself a prince of Gatvol.
You're the king.
Yeah, I'm the king. Unfortunately, I took that position, so you can declare yourself the Prince of Gatvol, and then you can post that photo under the hashtag Gatvol on your Facebook page. When you post the picture at the by die opmerkingskolom where you put your title in, you put hashtag Gatvol, and when you post it, it will become blue. And it takes you directly to the hashtag Gatvol campaign, where you see all the photos of all the people who are Gatvol like me.
I love it. Okay. Now, Michelle Mullard said, is the General aware of the Magna Carta protest on the 22nd of June?
Yeah, that's the protest I'm speaking about, Jesse Casanova. And that under that law, we can make a study and do our research, compile a document in our notice to government. And I'm telling you, we have the international law behind us to take our stance in South Africa in terms of the international law as a minority group. But we have to come together as a collective, not in splinter groups, as a collective. And then we can make a stand against this cabal and this government, this treasonous government.
That's the day you
I'm
go.
aware of that, and that's the day that they are going to
cut you open.
To cut me open, and when I wake up there, I will definitely switch on my phone, seeing what's happening in the UK.
Yeah.
And we will follow suit. As soon as I'm back from hospital, I think even before that, Lawrence Steytler will drive this campaign to the utmost, and he will, in actual facts, play the leading role in uniting all the leaders. I'm only part of one group that will buy into this concept.
Right. Now, Gerard's asked, does Boerelegioen only have Facebook? You have a website. We've got the website address here in the side chat. Are you on Twitter or any of the other social media?
Yes, we have a Twitter account under Boerelegioen. You can just go search for Boerelegioen. We have the YouTube channel, Boerelegioen Media, where all the YouTube videos are stored on. And then we have Loving Life, who are supporting us a great deal. And and then we have two Facebook pages. One is Boerelegioen, and the other one is Boerelegioen RSA. And then we have a Facebook group called Jesus Christ, our leader Jesus Christ, ons leier Jesus Christus, and the Boerelegioen. Where we are sharing spiritual messages and uplifting each other spiritually, and allowing people to get into spiritual discussions, and mekaar bietjie op te bou geestelik en so on.
Right.
And then, if you want to join, you have to go through the page to www.boerelegioen.co.za. There you can just follow the join, die skakel kies wat sê sluit aan. It will take you to a page where you can fill in a form, read through all the conditions and whatever. And then after you have joined, you will receive via email a force number, a membership number, and that will allow you to be accommodated on our command groups where you are staying, and then you can participate, become an active member in training, become an active member in the structure, get a rank and a leadership position, and start working according to our protocols. So that is the way we are doing the things.
Okay, now RS has asked a quite an interesting question. I'll just put my spin on it before handing over to you, Isaac. He says, with the events happening in the USA, how will this impact on South Africa? Now, what I find so interesting about what's happening in the USA is that it only takes 300 or 400 people working as a collective to completely flummox the police force in a city like Los Angeles. So it doesn't take a lot of people to actually cause civil unrest, if I can put it that way. Now, when you consider how disorganized the South African police services, a far smaller number of people should be able to actually take some kind of action to show that they are gatvol without the police responding. And again, if you look at the looting that's going on, you see the police sitting on the side watching and doing nothing. So, you've got a police service in South Africa that is pretty well incompetent and has its hands tied. But what are your thoughts on that question about with the events happening in the USA, how will this impact on South Africa?
Yeah, Scott, what happening in America is mainly driven by, it seems to me, it looks to me like black Americans that are looting and going to the street and protesting and burning and whatever. I don't actually see visuals of many white people.
There are quite a few.
It will not. Is there quite a few?
Yeah, I've seen quite a few whites,
but,
yeah.
Then it's good. I think that should serve as an example of how white people can protest. But I think what we will see in the near future is that Europe will stand up. And what we are going to witness in Europe, and we, in a smaller scale, we already started to witness it, where the French took the streets and where some of the German people took the streets, and even in the UK. And I think if there is going to be mass action against this cabal and against the governments of the different countries, then we will have a typical example of what we should do in South Africa against the ANC government. If they can overthrow the liberal governments in Europe, then it will be very easy for us, who are descendants from Europe, to overthrow in a legal way, in participating in a legal rebellion against evil. We will easily get rid of this ANC government. It will not be difficult.
I have no idea how Macron and Merkel got in, because they are both just absolute pariah. There must be something very wrong with their voting system.
Yeah, there is definitely, and I can tell you that when the last election in France, Le Pen was supposed to win that election, and by way or means manipulating the system, that Macron, he's a poopball man. I don't know how they got him in.
I wouldn't trust him with my kids, that's for sure. He just looks like one of those people that I just, there's something about him that just makes my skin crawl.
Those people are all linked to this pedophilia from the cabal, man.
Yeah.
All of those people are pedophiles, and what do you call people that eat people?
Cannibals.
Yeah. They are from the devil themselves, man. And we as Christians, we have a huge responsibility. And I'm telling you, God will help us. God will help us to get rid of this cabal and this evil before God comes to create His kingdom on earth.
Yeah.
There will be a dark time, but we have to resist. We have to play the role of the resistor. There's a book in a chapter in 1 Thessalonians wat sê, solank die teehouer daar is, sal hulle nie kan doen wat hulle wil nie, maar sodra die teehouer weggevat is, en ons is die teehouers, we are the resistors, we have to resist against evil, we have to kick against, we have a responsibility to bring up our children, we have a responsibility to educate our children in the Bible and the ways in the Christian values. And these people are breaking it down. We cannot allow that. We have the authority over our children. We have the responsibility to teach them the right ways. And I'm not prepared to expose my children to this evil anymore.
Yeah.
And no, man, we have to stand up. Really, this is a sincere call up, and this is not something that I do out of own benefit or anything else. But we have to stand up as a collective in this country, make a stand.
Now,
and there's no sense in Rand speaking here. There's nothing speaking here. It's a sincere call out of my heart because I love my country, I love my people.
Yeah.
And I want us to be restored as a people in South Africa, governed by the people, not by barbarians.
ZS has said, question for General Isaac. You're going to like this one. He says, how much cigarettes does he have spare? He says he is at his wit's end. He wants a cigarette.
I can email him too.
There you go. There's your answer. And Brian says, can a WhatsApp account not be set up for the Gatvol movement besides Facebook?
Yeah, we are busy with that. And not me, not the Boerelegioen. Lawrence Statler is establishing WhatsApp groups in every town. And I think he's busy sharing the login details also, or the join chat, whatever. He's sharing very, very selectively, not to everyone. If a person comes and knock at the door and put up his hand and says, I join in, you'll add him to the group. And there's quite nice talks going on that groups. I just joined one of the groups and I see that the people are very, very hot, and they are talking to each other, and they are agreeing upon subjects that was never agreed upon, and they get common ground, and that's a good sign, very good sign.
Now, where do people find these Gatvol WhatsApps?
I suggest that they make contact with Lawrence Statler himself. I'm going to be difficult now to get a number.
Yeah, look, give it to me later, and I'll put it below this video in the description, and people can contact him that way.
Okay, I just want to ask his permission to distribute his number.
But
in the meantime, they can make contact with me on the BL cell phone 063.
Right.
057.
Yep.
0996. They can just send a WhatsApp, said they just indicate that they want to join with the Gatvol campaign, and then Marinda will see to it that they are put on the groups.
Okay, I've just put that in the side chat so people, if you want to contact the Gatvol or become part of the Gatvol WhatsApp, just contact Boerelegioen on that number and they'll give you details. Okay, yes. Next question. Erica says, Eloise Day, is Boerelegioen active in Cape Town in the southern suburbs?
Definitely, we have a strong structure there. We had a breakaway a few months ago, but we are building up again. We just recently appointed a strong leadership there under the command of one of the two colonels that was interviewed. So yeah, she can just join in with the website, and she will be referred to one of the admins, and then she will be put on the right group under the right commander in the suburb where she's staying.
Right, fantastic. Yarnier, that's his username, Yarnier, I like it. He says, die besluite van die verlede het die nou geskep, en die besluite van die nou sal die toekoms skep. Die stryd is nie teen ras nie, die saak is meer kompleks. By wie gaan ons klaar?
By wie gaan ons klaar?
Yeah.
I think the only people that you can complain to now is the ANC government. But if you want to become part of the resistance, then you can join the Boerelegioen or the #Gatvol or one of the other organizations who are fighting their asses off to get self-determination in South Africa. But at the end, there will be one government for the white minority in South Africa. And that's the drive behind this whole exercise that we are endeavoring.
Right. Okay, I've got 3 questions left for you, Isaac. I know it's been a long night for you, and I don't want to wear you out, especially with your condition at the moment.
Condition, yeah.
So, here are the final 3 questions for you. Anthony has asked, Isaac, what is your opinion about Suidlanders?
Suidlanders is part of the folk, and they have a plan, and I respect that. I think if there was mutual respect for the fact that we want to take control of our towns and create the towns as places where we can defend as our own, then there can be good cooperation between the 2 organizations or the 2 ways of thinking. But I have respect for the management of the Suidlanders. I think they did a great job in creating a plan, places of withdrawal. I'm the last person that criticized a withdrawal from towns. I'm the last person to criticize. But I think that we as a white people need to first discover the fact that every town in this country is defensible. If you have the right people on board, if you have the right command system, if you have the number of people behind you, you don't need many people to effectively defend your territory. That is the oldest principle in the book. The fact that Jerusalem was destroyed was a mere result of the sinful nature of the Israelites, and they were driven away out of their own country. We are not the Israelites. We are Christian people. We are believers. We are descendants of hard-working people who tamed this country. And I don't see any reason that any of our people have to leave what belongs to them to move to a safe place, which is so-called defensible. That is my stand. That is my point of view. And in fact, they don't respect that at all. They see us as a terrorist organization. They treat us as like a terrorist organization. They're making public statements referring to us as terrorists. So I don't know where we stand as brothers, because I don't want to be seen by my own brother as a terrorist. Knowing the law and knowing that we are operating on the right side of the law. Even tonight, I heard a video from one of the leaders of the Suidlanders where he referred to us as a bunch of terrorists, and we are going now to jail. We are a second Burma because we are now going against the law. No one ever said that we are going to break any law in this country. We are going to stand on our rights. We have a legal right to stand our right. And we never said that we are going to overthrow the government. We never said that. We never said that we are going to perform a coup d'etat. We never declared ourselves the enemy of the government. But we are showing out the wrongs of the government. And that is our right to do so. Because if you hit your child when he's innocent, and he show you that you hit him, you have to apologize to that child, if you are a man. And that is what government doing to us. They are giving us hidings that we are not deserving. They are mistreating their children, and we have to raise a voice. And we have to make a stand, to make them aware that we are not doing anything wrong. Yes, Iman, we are law-abiding citizens. Please treat us as equal citizens in this country. So yeah, I'm not against the plan of the Sailmakers, but they are against us. And as long as they see us as the enemy, we will just stand our ground, and we will not move 1 inch, encouraging our members to pack their venterwijntjies to withdraw and to run away. We will never do that. And I don't say that they are running away. I understand the plan. But there were several times in the past where they declared level red or a code red or a code black, where we had to put some stick in the wheel to say, no, that's not necessary. Don't run. We don't have to run. We don't have to withdraw. What about the old people in the old age homes? What about the sick people in the hospitals? Are you going to leave them behind? We are not going to leave anyone behind. That's not in my character. It's not the Boerelegioen are. We are standing for our people. And if they are crippled, and if they are blind, and if they are sick, and if they are old, they are our people, and we will protect them. And we will do I'm prepared to give my life to protect the old person. And that is who I am. I will give my life to protect children, innocent children. And that is who I am. And I think that is the character of the Boerelegioen as well. And we are not going to run anywhere, even though they are campaigning that we have to join in and run away. We will not. We will not. We are going to stand our ground. We are not terrorists. And I can guarantee all the listeners and all the viewers who are interested in joining the Boerelegioen, if we were terrorists, I would have been arrested 3 years ago already. We have the legal right to stand our ground and to stand on our rights. And that is what we are doing. That is what the EFF is doing, and that is what the ANC are doing, and that's what they did in the apartheid years, and they engaged into a struggle that overstepped the line of reasonability. And even though they overstepped the line of reasonability, they got engaged into acts of terror. They attacked the National Party government. They fought against our police and our defense force. And even despite the fact that they did that, they were released from prison and they are now governing this country. We are not going to engage into terrorist activities, never. Except if we declare war against them. And that is the fair thing to do, is to come to a point where you evaluate everything around you and you decide that we are ready for the war that was already declared to us 25 years back. And all we have to do is accept the challenge. That's all we have to do, is to accept the challenge and tell them, you declared war against us, now we accept the challenge. Now, let's wage war. We are not going to allow that you are killing us in the night anymore. We are not going to allow you to oppress us anymore. We are not going to allow you to exclude us from the workplace anymore. We are not going to allow you to see our belief system as an evil belief system, because we are not evil. We are not evil people. The white people in South Africa are the most peace-loving people there is on earth. They are the most naive nation on this planet, believing everything is good. And that is part of our struggle, to get our people to also believe that they are bad people. Because they don't believe it. Most of our people don't believe that there is evil on this earth. I hope that answered the question.
Right. Now, Darby Oosthuizen has asked, Ask the General to make the meeting in the Transvaal. I'll come along with a tractor and bring the N1 to a standstill for a week.
That's what I want to see. That's the spirit I want to see amongst our people. I think when we make that call, we will close down South Africa for at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
And if need be, 36 hours, and need be
A week.
48 hours. And or a week. So that's the spirit we want to see. When we make the call, I think it will be made from a neutral point, and then the people have to respond, and they can start to talk to each other so long, because the day is not far that we are going to make that call, and then we expect 500,000 people to pitch.
Right. Now, Karen has said, and this is more just information for you, Isaac. She says, I applied to join Boerelegioen with Richard Lamas through a cell interview, which went very well. He sent my resume to Boerelegioen. I did not hear back from Boerelegioen, contacted Richard Lamas, and he had resigned. Is there a way that Karen can find out what's happening there?
Yeah, she can phone the number 063 057 0996. Speak to Marinda, send her a WhatsApp or call her, so that she can be directed how to go through the webpage and just get a membership number, because it's very important that she have a membership number, the force number, so that she can become an active member on the groups.
Right.
Richard Lamos, he's part of Doc Gavin's executive TACMED group now, and they are functioning separate from the Boerelegioen, but we are also in alliance with them, because he's serving all the other organizations as well in terms of medical training and stuff.
Okay. Now, Property Power has asked, Scott, please ask Isaac which countries around the world would come to our aid in the event that, we needed that support.
Now, that is very difficult to say at this point in time. I don't think countries will come at this point in time to our aid. I don't even think that America will come to our aid when there's problems. I think we are on our own when the attacks come. But I think there's lots of conversations going on between different leaders in the conservative world in Europe and different leaders in South Africa. And I think when we can get to a point where we can agree upon a point of when they can come here as mercenaries or people who can assist us on the military level, we can expect many help from according to me, the Netherlands and Germany, even the UK, that there is conservative people in that countries who's got lots of power, who's got fairly good profiles in their countries, and perhaps they can come and assist us. But at this stage, there's nothing, daar's niks in yster gegiet nie. Ek weet nie hoe ver is samesprekings tussen verskillende organisasies en mense in die buiteland nie. So it's very difficult for me to pinpoint and say that the Netherlands or Europe, perhaps Belgium or Germany or some of their countries will send aid to our rescue or people to come and assist us. It's difficult to say.
Right.
I hope it answers your question.
Yeah. Now, we're going to be wrapping up this live stream shortly, guys. So please, if you're on my channel for the first time and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We have some really good live streams most nights at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time. And, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to Isaac, who's a good friend of mine. We've had him on a few times, and, the discussions are always lively and very interesting. Now, Stuart Campbell has asked, asked the General if they should set up a command council to regulate the way forward before electing a shadow government.
Definitely. I think the hashtag Gatvol will lead us as to how we are going to approach this. But I think the Central Command Council will definitely one of the biggest options to consider.
Right. Now, the last question. It's been a long night for you, Isaac. Bruce Masters has asked, the ANC is going to give all unoccupied municipal land in all suburbs to low-cost housing and squatters, so making each town independent is going to be very difficult, if not impossible.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but I can assure you that before that initiatives are concluded, there will be a definite step in the direction of taking back what belongs to us, and hopefully the majority of the locations will not settle in towns. I don't think that is achievable at this stage. So only a lesser percentage of the black population will be resettled in towns, but that can be reversed. I think before they settles, that can be reversed.
Right. Now, that's all the questions. So we've basically come in right to the end of the live stream now. I just want to thank all the moderators in the side chat for all the fantastic work that you guys do. You actually allow us to keep the side chat open because you make sure that things keep under control. We had close on 1,000 people watching this live stream at its peak about an hour ago, which is amazing. It's really cool. I just want to thank all those people who have joined us tonight. Thank you for being part of the live stream. I hope you've learnt a bit more about Boerelegioen and the great work that Isaac is doing. And let's all pray for Isaac on the 22nd of June, because that's the day he goes under the knife. And I know everything is going to be fine, but let's pray for Isaac anyway. Now, Christian Mulder has asked, would General van Zyl be prepared to take a personal call from me? Well, I guess if you contact that Boerelegioen number and explain to them what you want to speak to Isaac about, I'm sure that he will let you know.
Definitely.
Right. Now, Isaac, I just want to say thank you so much for coming and joining us tonight. I know you haven't been 100%, and I know it's been a strain on you tonight, and we really appreciate you letting us know what is happening. Is there something you'd like to say to those who are watching the video now or who might watch it later, just in closing, like a message for people?
Scott, I think I just want to put up my crown. As the king of the Gatvol campaign, hashtag Gatvol campaign, I really, from the bottom of my heart, want to invite every leader, whether it's a large group, whether it's a small group, whether it's a local group, whether it's a buurtwag, whether it's the Plaas Patrollie, I want to invite the leaders to encourage their people to become part of the hashtag Gatvol campaign. If there is a time in the history of South Africa where we have stand together as a white people, as a people, to address what is wrong in South Africa, the only way we can address what is wrong is when we come together, formulate the wrongdoings, and present it to the government of the day. And if they don't respond in our favor or to our satisfaction, we can take the next step. And even if this campaign is met by resistance or revolutionary resistance, we have to work through that resistance in order to become free again in South Africa. We are slaves in our own country. It would have been better if I was a slave under my own people, but to be a slave under foreign people, people who don't understand my language, who don't understand my culture, who don't understand my way of thinking, who are not accommodating our needs, our desires, who are not prepared to look after us. We have to take control over our own stuff and take our own decisions, elect our own leaders to talk on our behalf and to work with what we can give them in terms of taxes then, to show to the world how to work with tax money, taxpayers' money, and become a strong force in the world again, like we were before 1994. We are a nation, we are a volk of patriarge. Ons is 'n volk van patriarge. Ons is 'n volk van mense wat regtig baanbrekerswerk gedoen het in die geskiedenis. Die eerste hartoorplanting is in Suid-Afrika. Daar is soveel dinge wat in Suid-Afrika eerste gebeur. Maar dis tyd dat ons as 'n kollektiewe mense saamkom. En ek wil nie eendag doodgaan met die wete dat ons mense wil nie meer 'n volk wees nie. Want daar's baie tekens wat wys dat ons mense wil nie meer 'n volk wees nie. Hulle wil net deel wees van 'n global faceless community. And my biggest wish is that we unite as a folk again, once again, and show the world who we are and what we can do. Salute.
Thank you, Isaac. All right, guys. Look, what a fabulous live stream we've had tonight, and it's always an eye opener hearing it from the proverbial horse's mouth when you speak to Isaac, because he's right on the ground. He knows what's happening. I'm going to wrap up the Gatvol live stream now. Don't forget to get your photos in wearing something that says Gatvol to that hashtag Gatvol. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed and ring the bell for the updates on this channel. And with that, I'm going to sign out just saying, please guys, take care and be safe, and we'll see you soon again in another live stream.